The unthinkable, 4 students found dead on Sunday right next to the University of Idaho. Neighbors are still in shock, now taking new measures to protect themselves.
Now carry a weapon on me. I used to do that before I moved up to Moscow. Moved to Moscow, thought it was super safe, stopped, and then this happened, and so at least if and until they find who did it, I'm going to continue carrying a weapon on me again.
Police searched the area inside and outside 1122 Queen Road on Monday. Law enforcement is still looking for evidence and a suspect. Releasing little information has those in the area asking questions.
Until we have the details of sort of what caused the police to think it was a homicide, then I'm still not entirely sure about it. Really small town feel, lots of hills, but it seems like a really close-knit community. All of my professors and stuff that are from here, seems like they've been here for a decade or longer, and they seem to know just about everybody. So I would say it's a fairly small community, even though there's roughly 20 to 25,000 people here. The officer that came by door to door, he asked if we had any sort of surveillance or if we knew about any other cameras or anything in the area. Sadly, this is an apartment building, and I'm assuming it's relatively old, so there was nothing. Luckily, the apartment sent out an email a couple days ago saying they're adding new lights, which there is a new light up there. They're going to work on installing cameras just so that if anything like this were to happen again, there's a better chance of getting footage of who did it. It seems like everyone that has been here for a while is just devastated by it. The last murder here was 2015, so 7 years ago. And so it's not something that happens frequently. It's not like we're in a big city where it's an everyday occurrence. So something like this is just sort of rare, doesn't happen often, so people aren't used to it. It's really odd because, I don't know, I've never been this close to any sort of other like crime scene before, I guess, other than like a drug bust, like walking by a house and seeing cops with like a drug bust. But that's the closest I've ever been to a crime scene. So especially one of this magnitude where I could throw a baseball from my front door to the house, it's just odd. No, I went to bed early that night, and then I woke up to a bunch of normal, and then a couple hours later, we got a message, and there was a bunch of police here, and then that was the end of normalcy for the past week or so here. Though the day that the police were called here, about an hour or two after that, an officer came by and just went door to door along here, just asking if anybody had seen or heard anything. That's the only contact I've had with officers so far. And the house, occasionally there were parties that were kind of loud. Most of the time it was pretty self-contained. But yeah, as I would take my dog in and out to go to the bathroom, I would just be walking by, I would look up and I would see people in the windows almost every night, probably 4 or 5 nights a week. So there were a lot of people that went into and out of that house pretty frequently. So yeah, it was kind of a party house, but again, this whole neighborhood is sort of like a party neighborhood because it's just off campus, so you sort of don't have to follow the university rules. I hope whoever did it gets found, because 4 people is not something that you just walk away from and act all normal. And so whether or not the cops think there's a danger, I disagree. I think there is a danger because 4 people shows that that person's dangerous. So I hope he's caught, preferably before I get back from break.
And joining us now, Jeremy Reagan, a third-year law student at the University of Idaho College of Law, who lives near the victim's house. Good morning to you, Jeremy.
Good morning.
Explain what you're seeing when you're driving through the neighborhood, what's going on, and what do you know about the people who lived there?
So I didn't personally know any of the people that lived at that house. I had seen them going in and out of their house a couple of times as I would take my dog out to go to the bathroom. And ever since this incident happened, I used to see people out in the field across from the apartment complex just playing with their dogs. But then after this happened, it seems kind of like a ghost town. The only people I really see are police and media. So it's just really strange that everyone in that neighborhood is sort of left for Thanksgiving early or just left for the rest of the semester or whatever their plans were. It's just odd to see that it's only police and media in there around there at this point.
Right. Jeremy, the police are obviously there. Have police or investigators gone around the neighborhood and knocked on the doors and said, hey, did you see anything? What do you remember? Do you have any video? Stuff like that?
Yeah, so around noon on the Sunday that it happened, we all got the vandal alert to sort of stay sheltered in place. And then about an hour or two after that, an officer came by and went door to door along the front row of apartments, at least where I live, and just asked if we had any footage or if we had seen anything the night before, or if we had heard anything. And that's the only contact I've had so far, was just that one time that the officer came by.
How would you characterize what's around you? It looks like a very wooded area. Are there a lot of deep woods around you where you could see people going in and out without being seen?
For the most part. So what you can see is behind the house, there's that little wooded hill there. For the most part, it's houses and apartments, other than that little area right there.
Yeah.
Jeremy,
But yeah, just Moscow generally. Oops, sorry.
how scared are you and your neighbors? I mean, this person who did this is still on the loose.
I definitely don't feel comfortable. I'm not necessarily as scared because the cops said that it seems like a targeted, isolated incident, and I sort of believe that based on the fact that 2 of the people in the house were unharmed. But yeah, obviously anyone that can just go out and kill 4 people is a danger to the community. And I sort of mentioned in the last interview I did that I hope that he's caught, preferably before I get back from Thanksgiving break.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely just an uneasy feeling being around there.
We're all looking for more information to figure out who did this. Jeremy, Reagan, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah, thank you.